Hello, brothers and sisters. This is Ambassador Dr. Ikonah Abukar, and this is the Jesus is Coming Soon Ministries. Now, what I want to talk to you about today is basically, it's a new day. This is a new day. The swamp is being drained in the White House, in Washington in general. The swamp is being drained in every area of government. The Senate and the House of Representatives. All those that you thought that were pristine and would do a great job for you have blown their cover. So now we have Biden, who is inept in the presidency, just like a puppet to all the people in the high echelons of the money world. And he's doing everything that they would have him to do without even thought. He's a puppet, you know. So now, those of you that voted for Biden, you have to rethink about how you vote for presidents to make sure you know who you're voting for and what they stand for. And, you know, one thing you could go by is what they've done in the past, yeah. Like writing bills to put more black men into jails with any kind of weed or a bag of weed. You know, just think about it. What is one joint going to do to upset the apricot here? What is one bag of weed going to do? And they go to jail to work like slaves while their wives and children go without. And this was for years. They socked it to them. Nobody else went in jail like that. And then they come out of jail a couple of years ago, I think it is now, and they look like, where am I? Everything's so different. You know, what am I going to do? I feel lost. And you could tell they felt lost too just by looking at them. A lot of them went back to their families, and you could see that they were taking care of the children instead of, you know, going to daycare, I guess. And this happened really before the COVID virus came around. So it's a good thing they are back at home, because now they can stay at home while the wife goes out to work. They don't have to pay for daycare, you know, unless they have a job, you know. So some of them are getting back, you know, into the family thing, and some are not. You know, it just depends on what happened and transpired while they were in jail. You know, sometimes people just go on with their life, you know. So now back to the Trump thing. Okay, we know now that he was telling the truth, you know, and the Democratic Party was trying to hang him, yes. Or you could say it was a witch hunt, either way you want to go. The same tactics were used as were used when he got the election in 2016, where they sent all the people out to tear up everything on the university grounds and anywhere else, and just destroy buildings and destroy people's businesses. The people behind that were the same people that was behind those going to the courthouse. They're the same people behind it, to make Trump look bad. That's why they had to splice his speech to try to make it look like he was the one that excited it. But now we know it was the Democrats. I mean, you know, you wouldn't expect people that with this kind of age and everything, and supposedly maturity, to be doing children type things, doing stuff you find in elementary school or high school or whatever. You just don't expect that. These are supposed to be intelligent adults that people have, voted into position to think for them and make sure that they're, that they were doing stuff in their behalf correctly and without any other than forethought. Not trying to, put their own, what have I said? Put their own evil spin on everything. Trying to get back at somebody who they don't like, or trying to destroy someone that they don't like, and trying to usurp somebody's career just because they want them out of office because I don't like that person. A lot of people say, well, he's not God, and everybody's saying he's supposed to be like God. No, he ain't like God. He is not God, but God put the man in office. But guess what? He put Bynum in there too so that we could see what was happening. See, if he had not put him or allowed him to come in office, we wouldn't have been able to see the truth. So instead of him with this big smile that comes all the way around to his ear, now he's worried because he knows he's been had by the upper echelons, and he has been used like a puppet, like you wouldn't believe. I think I would be just very upset to have people, using me like a puppet, having me doing all kinds of ungodly things, having all these thousands and thousands of people out of work, maybe millions, who knows? Because, every job, every job that they have is they have to have a gas station, they have to have some place to eat, they have to have a place to stay, they have to have accommodations, Some people have to, bring their families there. They have to have a house to buy. The real estates, people have to be there. It just goes on and on and on. You have to have insurance. You have to have banks. I mean, and he just put everything to nothing. He just squashed it all. And I can't say that he was the one that did it, other than the pen, but he did exactly what the upper echelon wanted them to do. And that's to stop everything so that they can win. I found out about I guess it was 2016, when I always talk about when I was sick for a year. Oh, wow. But anyway, I found out that that the upper echelon really wants 85% of people on the earth to die. They wanted to have complete control. And I believe the reason why they wanted the people coming from the south, border to the United States, is because when they get through killing everybody, including us too, even the black folks, because that's we're part of the people that they're going to look for, second half of the, when they have the, before Christ comes back, there's two different times, the 3.5, when everything seems to be okay, and then the two people come from heaven to preach to the nations to get people to turn to Christ, and then the second half, that's when all hell breaks loose on the church and on black folks. They want us dead. So we're going to have to, have an ear to hear God so that he can direct us so that we will survive and hopefully make it to the liftoff. That's what I'm really thinking about that, that I just want to I want to know what it's like to just go up in the sky, to meet Jesus in the sky. That's what I want. You know, I really, really want to see that day. And so, you know, that's my little thing, you know. I really believe that since Bynum is in there, if he gets to stay in there, we won't be able to bring in that the rest of the people that have been marked by God, well, not by God, by his angels, you know, as those that are going to go to heaven. Oh, yes, they've been marked already, you know. So, you know, they've already been marked. You know, God told me the exact day, by the way. I ain't going to tell you, though. He didn't tell me to tell you. But the thing is, it's already been done. And so those that are for him will continue to be for him, and those that are marked, you know, those that are not, just not, you know. And God told me about maybe, 15 years ago that only 1/3 of the church will go to heaven. 1/3 of the church, I said, not of a church building or any particular denomination or whatever, but 1/3 of the church. That means for all over the United States, all over the countries outside of the United States. Any Christians anywhere. If you count them all up and said 1/3 and of all of them, you know, not 1/3 of my church, you know, not 1/3 of your church, but 1/3 of all the churches together, you know, will be going to heaven. So you better hope that you are in the number of the 1/3. And also, he said 2/3 will not go. And a lot of them will be left. And I believe, you know, I don't know if this is my mind or his, you know, as far as this is concerned, what I'm getting ready to tell you. I guess it's mine, really, but I'll take it. Really, after the swamp is drained in Washington, D.C., we need to drain the church. The church needs to be drained. That means all of those that are faking it until they make it, all of those that came in the back door, all of those that took control because they had a friend that let them up. We don't want anyone before us but those that God has chosen, those that are anointed. If you are not anointed, what are you doing in the pulpit? If you're not sent to preach to God's people, what are you doing in the pulpit? If you're not a preacher, what are you doing in there? It's only because the children had taken over for a while. See, when we were not doing what we were supposed to do, the children took over. And they just made it up as they went. You know, let's fake it till we make it. That is not going to get you to heaven. You need to know God. You need to have a personal relationship with him. If you don't have a personal relationship with God, what are you doing in the pulpit? If you don't understand the anointing, what are you doing in the pulpit? If you don't know what God told you to preach, what are you doing in the pulpit? Get out, devils. I mean, you know, I've been looking at this for almost 23 years, I guess, since I came to California. And I said, this is a travesty to see this type of thing happen, you know. We're supposed to guard and the sanctity of the pulpit and not let any old body come in. And I'm talking about even those that are coming because they want to have the vote. Let them stand on the floor. They have no business in the pulpit. You know, we're not supposed to, you know, bow to them. if they want our vote, they have to come in on our own terms. And not on Sunday morning when you're supposed to be giving the word to the people of God. If you want to talk to the people of God, you have to come in on a day that we said we're available. Not because you come in a van with 5 people that's supposed to be high rollers, no. We're not going to do that anymore. This is just, I don't know. I don't know why it's going on. Well, I know because we allowed it. So we got to get a grip on that. Now, I was going to tell you the name of the new party that Trump is proposing, and I can't find it nowhere. And I remember him saying it, and somebody told me what it was, but I forgot again. So we're not going to even go there right now. And but I really want to talk about the fact that even though Trump is out of office now, he still has 75% of the people of the United States following him, and many more that actually voted for Biden that said, no, we're not going there no more. So that if Trump runs again in the next 4 years, it's going to be a total wipeout. It's going to be like all those that came against him and those parties are going to be just standing still and looking with their mouth open. So what they had planned when they planned to destroy him, all it did was gave him more power. And I say, thank you, Jesus. That's what I say, yeah. Because I'm tired of all these people that are supposed to be intelligent. They're supposed to be, some of them lawyers, especially in the Senate. How can they not know what the law says? Who took the test for them? You know what I mean? Sometimes people do stupid stuff like that. They don't know. They just get somebody to give them the, the answers or whatever. So, they need to get those people out of there. In the Senate, those leaders in the Senate, and also in the House of Representatives, and all of those people that feel that they can do the same thing that Trump did and get a pass on it, but yeah, you can say fight. Yeah, he said it too, just like you said it. Now, I'm glad that we had this lawyer that was really just, he came in and just laid it out step by step. I mean, and they still act like they had some kind of trial to do. They still acted like they had a case. Their case was destroyed the time he got up. To completely destroyed. So, we got to do some changes in government. Yeah. Big time. So, and, Trump was talking to the guy in the FBI. Oh, my God. You got to be more careful. Because ain't nowhere he could talk in this government, and they not try to hang him, if they are not on his side. Okay, no way. It's like, you can't whisper something, you can't do nothing. Because they still considering him as a president. And they're saying he's plotting revenge and all this kind of stuff. From what I see, he was trying to ask them to just, not go so hard on a particular person, because maybe somebody behind him was pushing him to do it. Who knows? I don't know. But the point is that he's got to be more careful, because they are really running for him. They're after him. They still want to hang him. They still, on a witch hunt, okay? Because they're mad as hell. Because they have been shown up. And they look like fools. Egg on their face? Yeah. You know. So, you know, we all have to live in the United States here. And we don't need people that are always on a witch hunt because they don't like somebody. This is not what this is supposed to be about. It also causing people not to have free speech. I mean, trying to make it a law that we not have free speech. That means we'll be a communist entity. That's what they're trying to do. And they're talking about Russia. Shoot, they're trying to do it here in the United States. I mean, what's his name? Freckleberg or something like that. I forget. He's the one over on YouTube. But he's trying to decide who should say something and who shouldn't. But then he let the ones that are on the wrong side say stuff. And then the ones on the right side, he don't want them to say nothing because he's not with that party. Now, you know, grow up, Freckleberg. Yeah, you'd have to, yeah, I forget his name. But I shouldn't say that because he might get me off of here. But because I'm on YouTube. But, you know, sometimes the truth is the truth. He needs to stop it. You know, because we'll lose all of our rights. If we lose our rights, guess who is going to lose their rights? He is too. Because that's also free speech on YouTube. So how are you working against yourself? Why are you working against yourself? And against the people. You say it's supposed to be a free speech platform, but it's not. If you're going around trying to cause it not to be a free speech and then determining who can speak and who can't. Now, wow. Now, I'm going to tell you, you know, a lot of you don't really understand why you can't just look at television. It's okay to have a movie every now and then, but to stay on the news and they're talking about government, you ain't going to get nothing but what the upper echelon want because they own everything. And they're telling them what they can, you know, what they can say and what they can't say. So now God is really shrewd, you know. He let them say all what they want to say and try to destroy who should have been in there. They just let it all out. If God hadn't allowed that to happen, if he hadn't allowed Bynum to get in, well, all this crap in the swamp would not have been revealed. And especially the people in Congress. Yeah. So I am happy, you know, and I'm glad that a lot of people that prayed for Trump, because we know if you are anointed and if you have an ear to hear God's voice, then you would have known to pray for Trump, to vote for Trump, regardless what the naysayers said. You would have known. And not this flipping back and forth. Oh, you know, they're not going to put Trump in, so we're going to jump over to the rattlesnakes group. And then, oh, he's going to get off this trial. He's not going to be, you know, convicted. So we are going to have to go back to the Republican Party. I cannot stand a double-minded man. I cannot stand that. If you're going to be for somebody, be for somebody. I'm wondering if Trump goes back into the presidency, who's going to be the vice president? I'm going to just leave that right there, okay? Now, going back to the church. I'm going back and forth today, but, you know. One thing, of course, we have to have the swamp, drained, okay? And we also need to rethink on what we are doing in the church and why we are doing it. We need to seek God to get Him to tell us what we need to do next in the church, and not just go and think from our own minds. You know what? You know that? Okay. We need to do His will. And I think that's one of the problems that we had in the church, because people coming in through the back door always want to do their will. They just wanted to do whatever it took for them to get a piece of the money, even if it's stealing it from the offering, okay? And they didn't want to do God's will. They wanted to do the will of the enemy, who is Satan. You know, that's obvious. And they come into the mic with all these demons, you know, because of course they're in line with the marine world, and they're full of demons. Some of them are Leviathan, and some, what is the other one? Python spirits, all in the church, you know, and Jezebel spirits, and just a lot of different spirits in the church, you know. And so they have been running the church, and they think this is their platform, but it's God's platform. Now it's time to drain the swamp. Now it's also time for those of you that are angry with your brothers and sisters. You need to learn how to forgive. And I don't know if that mark is on your head or not. Because if you're walking around not forgiving what God has already forgiven, then you are not going to heaven. You will find yourself in hell looking around. Where am I? What is this? Why do we have all this fire all around? Why do we have all this molten stuff around? Why? What is going on? Why do we have this liquid lake of fire? Oh my God. God, I'm not in hell. I know I'm not in hell. Please tell me I'm not in hell. That's why I'm telling you now. You might not like the idea of me telling you now, but it might save your life, your eternity. God is not mocked. Whatsoever you do. You got to learn what is meted out will be meted back. If you're doing witchcraft, you're not going to heaven. Oh, you'll be at the great white throne judgment, but not in heaven. Not in heaven. And the only reason you'll be at the white throne judgment is because you're going to be judged for your evil. And then the angels will just throw you off into hell, into the darkness. Okay? I'm getting a lot of phone calls here. You know, I'm using my phone. Anyway, that's why you see my finger going up there. So, you know, God had told me to do all this talking, you know, to just, give you some ideas of what's going on in the world and also in the church. And remember, heaven is a place for believers in God and followers of Jesus, not for evil people, backbiting, and you know the whole thing. You know, you're angry at somebody, so you try to destroy them. You know, you don't realize that they're God's people too. So you cannot just go around destroying people just because you don't like them. Same thing they did with Trump. So he's not a Christian. He was a baby Christian when he came in. He's not a baby Christian anymore. That's why he could stand up to this mess with Biden and all that mess. You know, he was angry, but that's righteous anger. All he had to do was go for what he knew. See, he's a businessman. He know unscrupulous people are in, the government. He knew that. He's not a politician, not in the way that most people are. They'll do anything to get elected. They'll do anything to get somebody out of their way, as you can see. You know who they are now. If you sit down and listen to all the Senate and the hearing in the House of Representatives, you know who they are. It's time to drain the swamp. I heard people on the mic, saying, you just fake it till you make it. There is no place in the Bible that says fake it till you make it. Either you is or you ain't. So, and if you're unclean, what are you doing at the mic? I mean, we're singing songs and we're praising God, and then we go into worship and the place is full of smoke. And then you come in with all your demons and put your mouth on the mic, and all of a sudden, there's no more smoke. The devil just came to the mic. Duh. That's the way it is. Now you know. Now you know. I guess that's why God wanted me on here, to let you know, because this is the time of a new day. It's a new day. No more jive turkeys at the mic. No more jive turkeys in positions. No more jive turkeys. If you can't do what you're called to do, you got to go somewhere else in another area that you're called to do. No more time for people that don't know what their purpose is. They just sitting in positions, like a round person, now what do you say? A round peg trying to get into a square peg. Don't work. You need to know who you are in God. You need to have a personal relationship with God. If you don't, sit down. Wow, I'm getting all worked up. I guess it's time for me to go, because I'll be hollering, because I'm so tired of this. There's no place in heaven for unforgiveness. No place. No place in heaven for unforgiveness. If you're not forgiving, you will go to hell. You can't slip by into heaven. It don't work that way. God knows your heart. And this is all about the heart. If your heart ain't right, God ain't bringing you to heaven so you can mess up heaven. You already messed it up down here. And we know who you are. The remnant knows for sure. You might have fooled a few of the people that are not remnant. Or maybe they're remnant. And they just haven't been in church that long. But people know who you are. God definitely knows who you are. And if you're not doing what God has for you to do, you ain't going nowhere. Everybody on this earth has a purpose. If you don't go to God and find out what your purpose is, you going to hell. Yes, that's the way it is, you know. You don't have time for God, He won't have time for you. How are you going to do what you're supposed to do if you don't know what it is? And somebody just put you in a position so you can cause problems for other people, trying to be bigger than you are. God knew who to give what. He knew which gifts to give to His people. He knew who could carry it. So we know already that you can't carry it. That's why you're sitting in the pulpit doing witchcraft. That's why you still gossiping and trying to put other people down. That's why you're still doing witchcraft and trying to kill people, really. That's why you're causing people to have accidents in their cars. That's why you're putting people in the hospital. Then you wonder why they won't call you to pray for them. The devil is a liar. Oh, Lord, that's so funny. No, no, no. No. If I'm on my deathbed, I ain't calling you. No, no, no. You ain't going to see me calling you. Because, I guess you think that you got something for me. No, you don't. If you don't have any anointing, I don't have any need for you, just like God doesn't. If you don't have